Okay. Okay, wonderful. Well, welcome everyone. Sorry I'm a little late. Today we're continuing on our journey of looking at the stages on the path to enlightenment. And we're going to do Death and Impermanence Part 2, along with exploring the consequence or impacts of the possible dangers of a lower birth, um, which I imagine, yeah, will be very interesting to think about on multiple levels. Um, and these teachings, again, are taught by Phuntsok, who has been a Buddhist monk for over 20 years. And then for the last 10 or 15, been teaching out of his apartment and on Zoom since COVID. And sort of a blessing in disguise that Zoom moved everything online, because now all of us all over the world get to still enjoy these teachings and benefit from them. Reminder that donations are very much welcomed and encouraged. There's 3 ways of donating. They're actually in the email, and I often put them in the chat, but today I'm on my phone, so I don't think I will. But do check your email. They're PayPal, Venmo, and Patreon. And yes, we'll do a meditation. We'll have the teaching, and then we'll have a closing meditation, and there might be some time for questions and answers. And I guess I'll also say, yeah, you're always welcome to email a question too if you don't feel like there's space in our session to offer your question, and then we can directly address that next time or by email too. And with that, yeah, I'll pass it on to you, Phuntsok. Thank you so much. Oh, you're on mute.
I said, thank you very much. All right. So, all right, let's get into it, because I would like to try to end on time. Try again today. I know every session I try, I haven't gotten there yet, but I'm going to try again today. All right. So we're going to meditate. And just hold in your mind, I'm going to meditate. Don't allow the intellectual understanding of meditation to come and try to create a story about it, but rather just feel it. I'm going to meditate, and let yourself feel what that is supposed to be. And pay attention to how the different dimensions of your being are responding to this intention to meditate. The physical, the energetic, the emotional, the intellectual, the instinctive. Just feel yourself as the very center, being open to the different responses. And whenever you make an adjustment, whether it's physical, whether it's energetic, whether it's emotional, let yourself know that you're making the adjustment because you're responding to the advice that any one of these dimensions are giving you, so that eventually you arrive at a place physically, energetically, emotionally, where you feel centered, aligned. A sense of calm begins to be palpably present, at first physically, and then it moves to the subtle layers until there is like a mental sense of calm. And it doesn't have to be some big experience of calm, just any measure. Bring your awareness to it. And if you allow yourself, you will notice that accompanying this sense of calm, there's also a pleasantness, a palpable degree of some sort of pleasantness that is physical, and that is also in the other dimensions, the energetic, the emotional, the mental. And after you consciously made all the necessary adjustments you feel that were necessary, and you feel from the body itself a sense of confidence that tells you that alignment, more of an alignment is present, and you're ready to go even deeper. And with that, take a nice deep breath. Hold the breath, and as you hold the breath, relax and let your intention to enter meditation be clearer and stronger. And then release the breath. And as you're releasing the breath, feel the releasing taking place physically, energetically, mentally, where you are going deeper into that sense of calm, deeper into that pleasant experience. And at the end of the exhalation, just leave the breath alone and just spend a few seconds just becoming adjusted, becoming acclimated to the new sense of calm, the new sense of pleasantness. Noticing, if you can, how consciousness is already becoming more and more subtle. The very act of awareness is more subtle. And the subtlety of awareness is experienced as sensations arising vividly to some degree, strongly to some degree, more distinct to a degree. And try to stay there while you do the next breath. Gently, fully breathe in. Hold the breath again. Relax, relax, relax. Strengthen motivation and release. And as you release again, feel the letting go in the body, feel the letting go in the breath, feel the letting go in the mind. And at the end, notice a new, deeper sense of calm, a new and deeper sense of pleasantness. And the sensations are even stronger, clearer, brighter, more vivid, more present. And if you are able, you may also notice attention is becoming more collected, more collected. All right, let's do the third one. Stay exactly where you've reached. And within that, breathe in. Within that calm, within that pleasantness, breathe in. Hold the breath and let yourself relax, relax, and release. And as you release, feel yourself going deeper into the relaxation, deeper into the clarity, deeper into the radiance, deeper into that pleasantness, deeper into that more collected sense of attention. Now consider yourself to be on the other side, in meditation itself, in some measure, in some level of meditation. And now, going forward, you're just going deeper and witnessing these very signs enhancing. Bring awareness to the perception of space. You're not seeing anything, but the experience of seeing allows you to be able to point to an experience where you're saying, I am seeing space. And without trying to control the mind, without trying to push away the experience, just try to stay with the understanding, perceiving space. And the reason for that, there is something about our own nature that is like space. when we directly perceive it with our direct consciousness, it doesn't seem like we are seeing anything, but there is an experience that is undeniable. So let space be a conduit to that. Just by seeing space, understanding space, and reminding yourself there is something about your own nature that is like space, ever present, but it's not something we can directly point to. Notice the measure of joy, the measure of peace, measure of clarity and vividness are not gone, but they are enhancing. So that fundamental nature that is luminous, clear, like space, joyous, it is what appears as our body. It is what appears as our different ideas and beliefs, our different emotions, the way we interact, the way we respond. All these are that very nature taking different forms. With that understanding, wishing to have more of a direct experience, just like seeing space, feeling space, be open to have a direct experience. Because we are so accustomed to perceptions through our senses, it is difficult to see this, to perceive this that is like space. So it takes on a form to help us, to have a communication with it, to have contact with it. And the form it takes is a form that upon seeing it, you feel inspired. Upon seeing it, you feel connected to something profound. Something from the depth of your being is remembering. So towards that, because of what it's doing for us, able to guide us towards this fundamental state, we feel reverence. We express our trust. And we express our gratitude. And as we express our gratitude, we express it with the understanding that this presence will infallibly guide us to what is most important, most meaningful to us. And having expressed gratitude, let your mind and heart be open. Let it be this inner guide that is guiding tonight, so that the words that are spoken, the gestures that you witness, help you connect deeper to your most fundamental nature. So be open. And remember the four reliances. Rely on the teachings, not the person. Rely on the meaning, not the words. Rely on ultimate meaning rather than intellectual meaning. And of course, rely on direct experience. And be ready to listen. Listen with motivation that tells you, I'm here because there is something important here for me. Important in the sense of being able to bring more meaning to my life, more meaning to my existence. And I'm open to it. And with that, get ready to come out of the meditation. First, observe that you are in meditation. Notice the sense of calm, the measure of pleasantness. Notice how clearer and more vivid your consciousness, your awareness is, clarity and radiance. And notice how more collected your attention is. And with that, take a nice deep breath and release. And as you release, deliberately, consciously reconnect with your immediate surroundings. Again, deliberately be aware of the different sounds, be aware of the different feelings, the tactile feelings, the clothing, the temperature. And of course, let your eyes take in light, noticing colors, deliberately noticing shapes, lights and shadows. All right, let's get right into it. I have a question. It's a question, but it's also it's going to ask you for a kind of contemplation. This is something that we've all experienced at some point, at some time in our lives, several times even, where the reality, or should I say, the recognition of death as being a fact strikes us. not in an intellectual way, not in a deep philosophical contemplation way, but an immediate experience. And when does that happen? It happens when we have an opportunity that comes up that's important to us, whatever the opportunity is going towards. But we see it as an opportunity for something that has some meaning of some degree to us. When we encounter that opportunity, there is an immediate enlightenment about the reality of death. And we know that the nature of opportunity, one of the intrinsic nature of opportunities is that they're not going to be around forever. And we find ourselves putting aside everything else. And we move towards that with that sort of understanding, with that sense of of with that realization about the nature of time, the nature of the the direct encounter with opportunities. We don't at that moment have this sort of like laissez-faire sort of attitude about death, about the impermanence of realities. We don't go into some philosophical, we don't go read a book to get to some deep realization about the impermanence before we seize the opportunity. We know at that moment about the nature of opportunities, and we know that we must seize it immediately. Okay? And we don't go into any psychological traumas. We don't go into any deep depressions or deep you could say deep mal psychological dysfunctions where we are contemplating, oh, this opportunity is not going to be around. Oh my goodness, it's not going to be around. Oh my goodness, it's not going to be around. What am I going to do? It's not going to... No, we seize it immediately. We don't go into contemplations. We don't go into philosophizing. We just seize it. Okay. But there are certain things that are important to us that we have invested a lot of mental energy, a lot of mental resources, where we've come to the conclusion, seemingly come to the conclusion, this is important. This is important. We must do this. And yet, for some reason, we completely forget about the nature of opportunities. Somehow, we suddenly lost, completely forgot. We think that we are, if not immortals, at least we are masters of time. Where we say, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it when the conditions are better. Even though we know that there's no such thing as a guaranteed tomorrow. That is why when an opportunity comes that we see as an opportunity, when we label it, when we conceptualize it, when we are convinced it is an opportunity, we jump at it immediately. We don't put it, oh, that's a very important thing. Okay, let me put it aside. We don't do that. But when it comes to other things that we know are important, what we somehow completely lose that, and we become little children who are confused about, oh, what is impermanence? Does it fit this situation? I'm not sure to what degree. How much time can I steal from this? Somehow we make ourselves as if we were confused beings. But when other situation comes, we are enlightened about the reality of death, the reality of impermanence. And then what we were afraid about, why we should not contemplate this reality, we're afraid of going into some psychological trauma and We don't experience any of those things at that very moment. And the reason for pointing this out is to ask a question. What is it about the vision, I would say, about those things that we say are important, and yet we keep delaying? And at the same time, when an opportunity comes for something that we would say is frivolous, not really that meaningful, but we are able to immediately understand that the opportunity will not be there or will not be there forever, and we have to seize it without any dysfunction with that reality. What is going on within us? Is it that I'm thinking perhaps there's a kind of impatience, perhaps, when we seek to do something that is important and we don't see the result immediately? We sort of we become discouraged. And we become discouraged so often that whenever something is really important comes up, it's just an opportunity. We see it as opportunity to experience further discouragement. So we're not really putting aside getting the aim of that which is important. But what we are putting aside is we don't want to experience that discouragement again. So there is a term, it's called dokta, where we form beliefs and we latch onto them as though they are truth when they're completely the reverse. Like in this case, when opportunity come, when it's time to do something that is important, we put it aside. At that moment we believe in permanence, that things last forever. It will always be there. I can always deal with it some other time. Okay. The the expectation that the doctor that I'm referring to, the doc means opposite or reverse, and ta means a view or understanding about reality that is backwards. So a backwards view, a backwards understanding of reality. So when it comes to things that are important, we have a doctor in terms of realizing how this opportunity is precious and how this opportunity may not be around for too long. We have a doctor about I will experience being discouraged if I continue to do this thing that I know is important. It is certain that I would experience being discouraged. So we have a doctor. So instead of knowing that it is certain that death is certain, it is no, that thing which I'm not experiencing now, but if I do something that is important, I'm certain I'm going to experience it. So we have a doctor about what is certain and what is uncertain. Will you experience that the next time you try? Maybe. It's not certain. It's a backwards view to think that I will definitely experience it. Okay. So we should doctor our doctor. we make our backwards views become backwards so that the things that are certain, we address them. The things that are uncertain, we address them. And the beautiful thing about reality, this level of reality, the psychological dysfunction that we're afraid of experiencing, it is exactly how we avoid them. It seems like by engaging reality, we experience pain, we experience suffering. So in order to avoid this pain in the future, so we avoid reality or what we think is reality. So when an opportunity comes for you to go to have a deeper experience of reality, we think of it as an opportunity for deep pain, an opportunity for deep disappointment. So of course, naturally, we will avoid that. Of course, naturally, we will pretend not to know about the nature of opportunities anymore. We will pretend that we have mastered time. We have become completely confused. Okay. And if we continue to live a life of confusion, then when that when that inevitable transition comes around, then it is inevitable, just like the experience is inevitable. Every being will experience it at one time or another. It is inevitable. It is certain that it will happen. It's just that the when is uncertain. And within that experience, it is certain that there will be universal experiences. Maybe dogs don't experience it. Maybe cats don't experience it. We're not dogs, we're not cats. Maybe stars don't experience it. We're not a star. I know you think you're a star, but not that kind, okay? Uh, we come from stars, we're not stars yet. Okay, interesting, very interesting. Okay, as I go along, as I continue with the talk, you will see what I'm came to my mind. I said, oh, that how interesting this is. Okay, so just like the very process itself is inevitable, and the contents of the process is they are inevitable. If you lived a certain life, if you live your life a certain way, the experiences you will experience, they will color how you experience them. So how you experience, so everyone is going through the same sort of stages, but what they bring to the experience will determine how the experience is lived, you could say. Okay. All right. So how do you prepare for death? How do you prepare for the inevitable? The first step is to acknowledge that it is inevitable. And we want to tap into that already innate way of responding to that reality, where an opportunity comes that we want, that we're not afraid of failure, not afraid of being discouraged. We just grab it immediately. We don't put it aside. So we want to arrive at that level once we come to a healthy realization of the inevitability of death, of that transition. Okay. Now, in that process, one of the things that everyone will experience, you cannot avoid it. It doesn't matter who you are, especially if you're not prepared. You will definitely experience this. It is that saying, my life flashed before me. That is an experience. That is part of the experience of going through the process of dying. And if you lived a life where you know there were important things to do that you kept putting off, it is inevitable that you will be a very heavy regret. And it's not like you will be deliberately looking for regret and then you find regret. You cannot avoid experiencing the regret. Especially when that phase of that process is taking place, where you're reviewing your life. But if you live your life where it's not necessarily that you fulfilled everything, but you kept witnessing yourself doing the things that you know were important. That, when that moment comes and you're reviewing, you will be at peace. There'll be a natural peace for you. So it's not everyone who goes through that process necessarily experiences a great peace. Okay. Yes, there are moments in the process where there is a natural peace that takes place, but it's not the end result of the process. Okay. All right. So within Tibetan Buddhism, the process of dying is referred to as dissolutions. And the dissolution is more like consciousness is withdrawing itself slowly from a different elements or different dimensions, so to speak, where it's entering purely into its own sphere of pure consciousness. And as it goes through this withdrawal process, there are definite experiences that everyone has. And you can have these experiences in deep meditation, and you can have these experiences do occur every night when you go to sleep. So one of the ways of preparing for that inevitable moment is to rehearse. No, it's not morbid. It's not a Addams Family kind of a rehearsal of death. For those of you who are too young, sorry, you're too young. It's not an Addams Family kind of rehearsal of death, okay? Uh, where you're doing the rehearsal so that when the moment actually arrives, you're already familiar. Oh, this is this, and you can be calm. Or this is that, and you can be calm. Okay, while you're going through the various experiences, the various withdrawals. Uh, in meditation, you've had experience the first withdrawal, where the consciousness is called earth into water, where the body feels heavy and uh, sense of sight is slowly becoming like no longer needed to direct your consciousness towards seeing. So it becomes dimmer and dimmer. And when consciousness is completely withdrawn, when this says earth dissolves into water, it's not that earth becomes water. It's just a name for consciousness withdrawing itself. So consciousness is withdrawing itself from a form, withdrawing itself from materiality, you could say. And there is a perceptual experience because you're no longer seeing, you're no longer, the vision is no longer being dependent upon, then you have things have like an unrealistic, you say non-tangible nature appearance to them. They look like mirages. Okay. And there are other things that's happening to the body. The body shrinks a little bit, the body becomes heavy until you're no longer able to control, not even able to move your eyelids. Okay. And water into fire. Remember, it's just a name. It means when earth dissolved into water, it means the water element became prominent and the earth element became less. Now, fire element is becoming more prominent. Okay. When water was prominent, there was a feeling of cold, and sometimes people are shivering when they're going through the process. And for each element, for each withdrawal, there's one of the senses is gone. So hearing, I'm seeing, pointing to my eyes, I'm saying hearing, seeing, and then hearing, and then smelling, and then tasting is the last one. Tasting and body consciousness are the last one. Okay. So water, earth into water, water into fire, fire into air, and air into the different levels of consciousness. Okay. So by that time, there's no more awareness of being in a physical body anymore. And some of you probably have experienced this, where you're in meditation and you're aware that you're not aware of your physical body anymore. You're aware that you're aware, and then you're aware that, wait a minute, there's no body. I'm not feeling my body. Okay. Uh, in the first, after air is dissolved, oh yeah, so the different appearances, different appearances. The first one is like, it's called mirage-like, where everything has a non-substantial appearance to them. And then there is what is referred to as smoky. Um, and if you go into deep meditation, you will witness these experiences. Okay. The smoky experience is as if things were made out of smoke. Okay. It's like you're in a fog. Okay. After that experience, the appearance, then the appearance of, and a lot of you have had this experience before, especially if you were knocked out. How many of you have been knocked out? How many of you have passed out? Either you drank too much, or somebody hit you, or you got hit, or like me, I'm always hitting my head, always forgetting my space, and I hit my head on something, and then for a brief moment, you see stars. Okay. So that's an experience. That is consciousness. It's visual appearance to an inner experience that is taking place. It's as if your nerves are shutting down, and that experience that is felt as a fireworks. We call fireflies, like lights, spots of light coming in and out in all direction. Okay? So it's like seeing stars. And after that, then there's like a steady uh, brightness, but it's kind of dim. Okay, this is called a steady flame-like appearance. Okay. Then now all the gross elements from earth all the way to air, all those are called gross elements. Now they have completely, consciousness has withdrawn itself from them. Now consciousness is within itself, and it's going through various stages within consciousness. First, it withdraws itself from conceptual dualistic consciousness. And what dwells there are names of things. You will remember that you should know the name of something, but the name of it will not come up. You will not be able to come up with the name. You will not able to remember your name. You will not be able to remember the name of even your parents. You will not be able to remember any name, any names, any labels. So because you're withdrawing yourself, consciousness has withdrawn itself from the label factory, the label factory. Okay. So no more labels, no more names for things. And perhaps if you allow yourself also in deep meditation, you may have reached that and you witness it. Now, there are mentioned in this sequence, earth into water, water into this experience, that experience, this experience. But when you are experiencing them for the first time or for the first few times, then you may be aware of when the earth dissolves into water, but when the water dissolves into fire, you may not be aware of it. You may be lost. And then you become suddenly aware when it's the mirage, or I mean, when it's a steady flame. Okay. Or you may suddenly be aware, you may escape all those and then suddenly become aware of even the more subtle ones. Like you can't remember names, or yeah. The order of recognizing them doesn't necessarily occur necessarily in the sequence, but the sequence is presented. Okay. After uh, conceptual factory is left, now the mind is in a more subtle state. Now the actual subtle states of awareness are now vividly present. And there are mainly subtle stages of non-dual perception. The first subtle non-dual perception. Not subtle non-dual means you haven't fully left duality behind, but it is much more subtle as compared to the previous one. There is knowing that things are happening, experience is happening, but it is done in a non-dualistic, it is known in a non-dualistic way. The first one is there is a vast, it's like space is filled, you're in a space filled with white light. And when the consciousness continues to further withdrawn, then it goes into an experience, an appearance where space is a vivid red. Sometimes they say like the beautiful vivid red of the sunset. Okay. Then a subtle consciousness that is completely unrelatable to perception dawns, and it's called black near attainment, where it's complete absence of any appearance. That's what you can call it. Complete absence of appearance. And when that after that, when that occurs, that's when you become unconscious. And it's not that you for a brief moment consciousness is lost, but rather there is absolutely nothing for consciousness to be aware of. And since it is subtle and more subtle levels of non-duality, so this level of non-duality is stronger than a level of non-duality previously. So there's complete identification with the complete non-appearance. So it seems like you're unconscious. But you can have awareness that you are unconscious. Or you could say you are aware that there is absolutely no appearance to your awareness. Okay. Then after that, then comes what is referred to as clear light. And clear light is referred to in so many different ways. There are many, some disagreements as to exactly what it is, but everyone agrees it is, that is consciousness's most subtle form. It is naturally blissful. And it is said that the natural bliss that is experienced with that subtle consciousness is unimaginable. Okay. To the point where some people, when they even come close to that, they get knocked out by the bliss. Like the bliss is so overwhelming that it shocks them. Okay. And so and once this clear light mind dawns, then yogically you said, now you have completed the process of death. Definitely the next moment will be the bardo, the intermediate, the state waiting for the next experience. Now, what will be waiting for us? That is the reason why in the Lam Rim, many considerations are presented. And they are not all inevitable. They are all possibilities. And what makes them inevitable is how we live the life. Now, this is going to sound not so pretty for a lot of people who are trying to leave certain dogmas behind. And here you are, after hearing about all these subtle things, and now you're being reintroduced to the very thing you thought was silly. But the thing is to keep your mind open about, I don't know, maybe, okay? Maybe. Um, Perhaps what's his name? The astrophysicist is very popular, who's done a lot of not the one who passed away, the one who's still alive. What's his name? Oh, he's a very popular astrophysicist, and he's like the scientist who helps people, who answers questions for people. Yes, Neil deGrasse Tyson. Yeah, that's his name. Thank you. Neil deGrasse Tyson. Uh, uh, he absolutely believes that once there's no such thing as consciousness continuing. Once the body has been returned, dissolved, and the different elements have dispersed themselves, he believes that that's it. That's the absolute end. Okay. Now, whether you believe that or not, uh, interestingly enough, Neil deGrasse Tyson has an appreciation of the fact of death. And then that informs him to live his life meaningfully. Even though he's not expecting something to come after, whether it's going to be good or bad, his mind is not convinced about the possibility. But upon reflecting and acknowledging and accepting the reality of the certainty of death, that informs him to live his life the best that he can. Where he says he's open-minded. Sometimes he finds himself a bit close-minded. So he lives where he sees himself as open-minded. And he feels that the meaningful way of living is to contribute as much as possible to humanity. Okay. So whether that is your conviction about what happens after, or whether your conviction is the possibility of continuing. So let's say Neil uh, completely convinced there's nothing going to continue, and he acknowledges that death end is coming, and the healthy way of dealing with that is to seize opportunities when they come, and then make meaningful things the things that you're constantly engaging in. So that means without philosophizing it, without religifying, religizing it. If it's not a word, it's a word now. Uh, if indeed in his own personal experience, while he goes through the process, he said, "Oh, the Tibetans were right. There's that white, there's that red, there's the black. Okay. Oh my goodness, this is what they call the clear light man. Okay, I'm still here. I'm still continuing. I can't remember my name anymore, but I'm still continuing." And perhaps he may witness himself uh, uh, having a different experience of continuing. Okay. So whether that is the reality or whether that actually comes to an end, the main thing is when the process comes, if he will feel ready and there will not be any dysfunctional relating to it. And in the meantime, you'll have lived a very meaningful life. Okay. So what are the possibilities? The possibility is that what do we see? What are the different lives that we perceive? Perhaps there are lives other than the lives that we are able to perceive right now. So in generally speaking, humans have these kinds of experiences. Generally speaking, animals have these kinds of experiences. And these are the what we immediately can say are lives that we directly perceive. Some people wish that they become if they if there is rebirth, they would like to be reborn as the pet of a very very wealthy person, where you don't have to do anything except being pampered and fed. Okay, but that is like really a one in a million. Okay, there are more animals on the planet than there are human beings. So the odds of ending up a human being again are stacked against you, if indeed that is a possibility. There are some people who accept reincarnation, but they say reincarnation is always it has an upward trajectory where you after maybe going through the lower lives, you enter a higher life, you've sort of sealed the possibility of going to the lower life. You just keep going up, up, up until you reach full liberation. That's just an idea. Um, Not very popular among Buddhists, most Buddhists, but some Buddhists believe that. But the thing is, we are looking at the universe, we are looking at our immediate experience. What do we perceive as lives? And indeed, if we will continue, what what will we continue? Is there a way to make it certain so that the next appearance that we have is something that it becomes another opportunity, a better opportunity? How can we make sure of that? So I'm not going to go into the lower realms, the hell realm, you know, those kinds of things. Uh, well, just for the sake, okay. Hell realms, you all heard about it. There are different kinds of hell realms. Um, Animal realm, hungry ghost realm. These are called the three lower rebirths. Okay. These are and basically think of them as um, possibilities of life where opportunity to actually take hold of opportunity and opportunities for meaningful existence are not available. And we can see that happening. We don't have to go into the hell realms, some possible hell realm, some possible hungry ghost realm. We see these being experienced and expressed by humans. Some humans are like hungry ghosts. They are insatiable, unfortunately. They have this thirst, this hunger that for some reason they're incapable of satiating it. That's a hungry ghost. And we have people who are in constant pain, either physical pain or emotional pain, some pain of some sort, which for them is constant. So you could say that's a hell. Okay. And there are people who just live life without really, it seems like they're living life without even thinking about life. That would be an animal kind of life. Okay. Or where they are the only important thing to them taking care of the needs of the body. Okay. They don't seem to be concerned about taking care of their higher faculties, the higher dimensions. Everything they do is related to the physical body in some way or another, where they are willing to harm others to protect what what they see as their possession. Okay. So why why is this mentioned? This is supposed to be a rational. This will be we're supposed to be rational. This seems to be irrational. Then we can speculate, or maybe the people back then fully believed in those kinds of things, and as a way to address their beliefs, it was incorporated. Maybe that's true. I don't know. But the main thing is the lesson there is, can you guarantee where you're gonna go? Can you guarantee it? And how do you guarantee it? You guarantee it by first living a life where you're not constantly feeling guilty. I'm not saying that you do things that you should be guilty for, but you don't feel guilty. I'm talking about doing things that are regrettable. And there is a common there's a commonality to our human experience. You don't have to be a high philosopher. You don't have to be a deep thinker to acknowledge these things. Um, when someone harms another because they believe that somehow they will get some sort of benefit from it, there is also within them a wisdom that lets them know that no, that's not how you benefit yourself. You're actually not benefiting yourself. You're actually harming yourself. And there are so many, and it doesn't have to be some metaphysical reason as to why. There's a social reason as to why. There's a psychological reason as to why. Because as human beings, we are social. That is, we need each other. We interdepend on each other for our survival, for our well-being. And that is, you could say, hard-coded in our DNA. So when we witness ourselves harming another, we are going against our DNA. So we are becoming dysfunctional. And we cannot be having a meaningful life witnessing this, constantly experiencing this. Okay. So and I'm sure a lot of you, most of you here, don't have to worry about where you intentionally form thoughts to harm others. I'm sure most of you are beyond that, if not all of you. But you have to go more into not just merely not harming, but go deeper into uh, uh, seeking the wisdom that will help you become a participant in benefiting others. And it's not necessarily um, uh, somehow finding some big project to do where um, you know a lot of people will praise you because they were benefited from it. It doesn't necessarily have to be that, but rather at every moment living within your truth. And when I say within your truth, I'm not talking about a truth that we have imagined to be the truth, but acknowledging this is what's here, this is what is presenting itself to me, this is what I'm acknowledging as being here at this moment. It may change tomorrow, but at this moment, this is what is being presented. Being honest with your experiences. It doesn't mean don't be angry, but rather don't misuse your wisdom that is arising as anger. Don't misuse your wisdom that is arising as anxiety. Okay. But rather know that deep within every experience, there is a kind of deeper wisdom, and just be open to that deeper wisdom. And don't allow the surface, um, the surface appearance to be what makes you determine about the reality of the experience. Um, so you see, what is being referred to as virtue, the list of characteristics that are called virtuous characteristics. What are they? They are basically when we abide in our true nature, in our fundamental nature. This is a natural way of relating with the world, with reality. Virtue is the natural way of relating with reality once we're abiding in our fundamental nature. So it's not something that we have to force ourselves to adopt. When we find ourselves forcing ourselves to adopt, it means that we have accepted something else as truth. And we have to find it, uproot it, let's get rid of it, so that we can abide in our truth. Loving, being compassionate, being wise, all these things are just natural expressions that emanate, that naturally flow from fundamental nature. There are conceptual ways of perceiving uh, authenticity relating with the world. So um, the way the art of dying well is to live life in the most meaningful way. If you find yourself struggling to do what is important, do the self analysis, do therapy for yourself. What is it? What is the relationship that we have developed with what we call important that makes us keep putting them off? What is the reality there? Be honest with it. And what is it about the things that we instinctively say are frivolous, and yet we find ourselves immediately attending to, as if knowing that they will not be there for too long, and we need to seize the opportunity. What is it? What is it about that? What is it about our relationship with that? What is it our conviction, expectations about that makes us able to do that? Like, for example, yes, there is this um, I guess a new kind of a psychological disease that is developing in our modern age. I forgot exactly what it's called, but it has to do with some sort of um, addiction to social media, where people, are constantly like this. And they say dopamine, is that what they say? Dopamine fixation or something like that. So what is it about that? What is it about that? What is it about them? What is it about the relationship with that makes that for them an easy fix, an easy thing to attend to? Did you hear such and such? You put everything down and you go social media. There's no putting it aside or maybe later. It may be gone. It may be taken off. I have to see it now. I understand that. I understand the reality of that. So what is it about that, about things that we know are not really meaningful? They don't really enhance our life. They don't really make our lives better, but we attend to them. What is it? What is it? What exactly is being satisfied in this relationship? Okay. And being real, being honest about it, about all these things. And that's where the real practice of wisdom begins. The real practice of wisdom is not picking up a book and then reading as much as you can about deep things, but rather allowing yourself to be honest with your whatever experience is present. And then you can sort of go deeper into the deeper layers of that experience from what you read from those books. But it's not the knowing what's in the books themselves that gives you wisdom. It is always being present with whatever is present and allowing it and being honest with it. I'm feeling angry. That is what is actually happening. And I'm allowing myself to be aware of it. That is wisdom. Okay? Not, oh, anger is bad. I don't know why. They say so in the book. I better get rid of it. That is not wisdom. Okay. All right. If you want to go deep into the processes of death, there's a book by I don't know if it's still available. Uh, it's by Lati Rinpoche. It's called Death, Intermediate State, and Rebirth. So it goes deep into all those dissolutions and exactly what dissolves and how it's dissolved, if you want to go deep into that. Remember, the purpose of that is rehearsal, so that when it's taking place, we feel ready. And if we yogically do the rehearsals, trying to experience them in meditation, we'll be better prepared. And indeed, okay, this is the thing. When I say, oh, remember when I talk about stars? You thought I was going to forget that, right? You people have little faith. So by acknowledging and recognizing and having a healthy relationship with the fact of death, that actually helps us, aids us in actually mastering the process. So that when it's happening, we maintain a sense of agency. We're not totally being thrown here and there by the experience. We maintain a sense of agency. Where every experience that is happening, we are able to say, I need to stay a bit longer. Oh, okay, I get this one. Let me stay a bit longer in the next one. Okay. We are capable of doing that if we rehearse it. And the person who, having rehearsed well enough and having caught the process naturally occurring during sleep, naturally occurring during very ecstatic moments, and naturally is able to catch the experience because they happen fast. So we have to sort of slow time to be able to witness the different things that are happening. And during sleep, then after being able to witness it, then we are able to participate in it. I'm staying longer here. I'm staying longer there. Okay. Witnessing yourself applying agency to the various processes. And when that actual time comes up, you will know this is the time. And you will do what is referred to as your final meditation. The final meditation is called Thupten. And Thupten has various manifestations. Some people stay in Thupten for a week. There's one Rinpoche actually very recently, in a monastery in India, who stayed in Thupten for like a month. When I say stayed in Thupten, as far as medical, clinical science is concerned, that person is dead. No brain activity, nothing. But the body is not deteriorating. For 35 days, for a week, for 2 weeks, and the person is in Thupten applying agency to the various stages as they are unfolding. The highest uh, sort of like capacity to apply agency to the process is when we actually are able to engage in the dissolution, where it's not just consciousness withdrawing itself from the various elements, but actually dissolving the elements. Dissolving the elements into what? There it is. Then again, you return to being a star, where there is visible manifestation of light radiating where your body used to be. It's called the Jalu, the rainbow body. This is complete mastery of the process of death. And once you are able to complete the process, have complete agency over the various stages of the process of death, then the state right after, you'll also have agency. You have agency in the bardo. The bardo is a place where you're completely being thrown by the winds of habits, complete, uncontrollable. And what is the prevailing experience for regular people is fear in those places. In those, there's of course it's not everyone, it's not every ordinary person who goes through that, but most of ordinary person experience fear, and they're able to allay the fear to some degree or another. And when you're able to have agency at that level, then you have agency of rebirth, deciding where. Remember, I told you you can decide, you can make that decision as to where you're going to be. You can be certain, okay, this is where I'm going to be. This is how you're able to make that. If not, then habits, the winds of habit will throw you into whatever the winds of habit will throw you into to be your next experience. But at that level, you're able to do tulku, where you have agency over your rebirth. And all that begins with, death is a certainty. And from that, all these possibilities are presented to you. All right. This is it. And I'm glad because I don't like talking about the three lower realms too much. Not that I'm not convinced about them. They're not inspiring. Trying to scare me about you might be born into hell and burn for millions of years. I can't even imagine that. So am I gonna be afraid of it? So, but rather, I prefer to be inspired by what's possible. All right. Any questions? I guess I have.
Well, I can ask in
Yeah, so you can answer. I don't have to do this.
where you're, yeah. Well, if you know somebody who is about to experience death
Hmm.
for whatever reason, mostly medical conditions or whatever, is there something you could do, right? Like, or what's the best way to interact?
Hmm.
Like, if or like say for,
Hmm.
can happen on any occasion, right? Like you
Hmm.
can find somebody, dying, if let's say you're there in the space, what can you
Hmm. Yeah. The number one thing that is advised to do is to keep the spirit of the person positive. Don't let them dwell into negative thinking. Don't let them dwell into things that they regret about life, but rather help them remember things that are positive, things that they can be proud about, because that sets up a kind of a what do you call that? It sets up a pattern for them to be in while they are going through that experience, so that they're able to, instead of being forced to go into regret, they can be the experience where the life is flashing, is remembering it's those positive things that are either mainly showing up or that they are being able to pay attention to. That's one thing. That's the number one thing. And the other thing is to, what was that person's deep belief, and relate with that person according to that deep belief that they have. This is not the time, unless you feel deep convincingly they are ready to let go of certain beliefs. Like if they had a really negative belief, and they seem to offer an opening to change, then you can engage in helping them. But don't try to force them not to hold on to that belief. But if they keep bringing it up, you distract them. Our minds are masters of distraction. It would not be difficult. Just bring up another topic where they're not dwelling on that. Like if they have oh, my neighbor was such and such and such, and blah, 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 bringing up lots of anger or bringing lots of resentment. Nobody should go through that experience where the experience is colored by these kinds of very heavy kind of emotions. Yeah. And if let's say, for example, if you know the person was a sincere believer in some sort of religion, then you can help them bring up the positive things of that religion to mind. You don't have to believe in those things yourself. But of course, it would have to be things that you see also as positive. Like if they have if there's I'm sure there's no such a religion, but we don't know what's going to happen in the future, right? Some religion that says, oh, you have to kill everybody you encounter who has a, I don't know, red hat. And for them, that's virtue. Of course, you will not accept that with them as being a virtue, but something that you sincerely, because at that level, there is a level of communication that's taking place at the, what you might call the, for lack of a better word, at the soul level. I know, okay, some people don't like that. But you understand what I mean? It's just words. Remember, listen to the meaning, not the words. Right now, that's the only word I can come up with to express the meaning I'm seeking to express. There's a communication that is taking place at a subconscious level, you want to say, where if you're not sincere, the person will sense it, because they are now very sensitive to these kinds of things. They will sense your insincerity if you're not sincere. So if you really believe that to be a virtue and you are extolling it, you're asking the person to bring it into their mind, they will sense your sincerity. Okay. And if, of course, Buddhism itself has, it's especially Tibetan Buddhism, has what is referred to as liberation through listening while in the Bardo. So if they have a connection to that, then you will recite that to them. Remember, this is what's happening maybe. Remember, everything is an opportunity for wisdom. Is this happening? That's an opportunity for wisdom. Is that happening? Okay, now that's an opportunity for wisdom. Is this happening? That's another. Trying to make every experience an opportunity for wisdom and help and guiding them to that. Yeah. All right. Thank you for that question. All right. Since okay, I almost did it. I almost ended on time. Wait a minute. What time am I supposed to end anyway? I guess we end with my legs hurt. It's a good thing that my legs hurt much faster than usual. Otherwise, it'd be like my teacher who sits for 8 hours without moving, and you have to sit there and listen or try to listen. All right, so let's do a closing meditation. Bring into conscious awareness that you're going to enter meditation, and just hold on to this intention without creating stories about it, without philosophizing about it, and allow the different dimensions of you to respond to this intention to enter meditation, and feel the responses arising from the physical body, from the emotional body, from the intellectual body. Since it wasn't that long ago that we were in meditation, try to remember the experience, how it felt in the body, how the breath behaved, how the mind behaved, so that the very remembrance of it recreates the experience. And once you feel you're tasting the experience again, take a nice deep breath, gently, fully breathe in, release. And as you release, let go, feel yourself going deeper into the sense of calm, deeper into a sense of pleasantness, deeper into clarity, deeper into radiance, deeper into collected attention. Leave the breath alone. And imagine that we are all sitting in the same space as you are in a circle. Feel the sense of I, how it is a composite, and how every part is felt as I, intrinsically as I. So when the left hand needs help, the right hand doesn't say, let me go help the right hand, but let me help myself. So accepting that and allow this sense of I to expand, feeling each other's presence and having the same sort of instinctive response towards each other's presence. That when someone else needs something, we feel, I need that. And we go out to help I get it. And because of the sense of dissolving the boundaries of I-ness, there's a bright light in the center appearing. As our sense of I-ness dissolves from its limitations, the bright presence expands, and as it expands, it absorbs onto itself, onto its brightness, the appearance of just a sphere of light, and continues to expand. Your pets are in there now, your neighbors, your neighborhood, until it expands all the way to what you say is the edge of existence, where there's just the planet Earth, the solar system, or the entire universe. It's all now this presence of this light where all differentiations are gone. But it's not simply differentiation in terms of appearance, but this sense we felt the right hand helping the left. We feel it naturally for the ocean. That's me helping myself. For the sky, it's me helping myself. For the various animals, that's me helping myself. For the grass, for the trees, for the mountains, for the rivers, for our neighbors, it's me helping myself. Now this realization is stable. We don't need the appearance of this bright sphere of light enveloping everything. So it begins to shrink. Yet as it shrinks, whatever it allowed to fully reappear, there's a shimmer left until it comes back to the very center of our circle. And it now splits itself to the number of us who are present into rays of light that enters our hearts. And we feel with conviction, when I sincerely help myself, I help all of us. When I sincerely help all of us, I help myself. Feel what you might call the merit of this gathering. Feel grateful to your innate guide, your innate lama, your innate guru who help you gain whatever wisdom you were able to gain. And feeling gratitude offer the mandala. And feeling the merit energy, compassion compels us to share it. So dedicate the merit energy to help address your compassionate concerns. Gyo di gyo gun, Senam yeshe zobzok shen, Senam yeshe le chongwe, Damba guni doba shou. Come back to just the space of being in meditation, noticing the level of calm, pleasantness, the clarity, the radiance, the measure of collected attention. Rejoice. Make the intention to come out. Take a nice deep breath. Release. And as we release, deliberately, consciously reconnect with your immediate surroundings with a sense of touch, noticing temperature, noticing the feel of clothing, noticing sounds, lights, shadows, colors, shapes. Okay. Thank you very much, everyone. And see you in 2 weeks. We'll deal with the next stage of the stages of the path to enlightenment. All right. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you.